Hi, if you're new here, I'm Kylie, just another Army vet, and today I'm reacting to the Chanakya Dialogues with Major Arya. This is U.S. to offer Prime Minister Modi membership of NATO Plus. Is it dangerous for India? Let's get to it.
Jai friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Because India is the only country in the Indo-Pacific which is willing to militarily take on China, which has taken on China militarily twice in the past. We had a long war in '62. A mob doesn't have any brains, A mob will go, it'll burn cars, it'll burn shops, it will burn markets, it'll burn residential apartments.
Mob mentality.
Jai friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. You know that the Prime Minister of India is shortly visiting the United States of America on a state visit. And this is a matter of great honor. And while the Prime Minister has visited the US, this is his first state visit, and there are various things that happen in a state visit, which is not a normal regular visit of any head of state. So what is happening is that when Prime Minister Modi visits, before that, the US Congressional Committee on the Strategic Competition between US and the Chinese Communist Party has recommended, I'm just reading this out and then I'll explain the pros and the cons of this. They said, winning the strategic competition with the Chinese Communist Party and ensuring the security of Taiwan demands that the United States strengthen ties with our allies and security partners, including India. NATO Plus security arrangements would build upon the US and India's close partnership to strengthen global security and deter the aggression of the CCP across the Indo-Pacific region. So essentially, what the US is doing is playing on the India-China rivalry. Also, because India is the only country in the Indo-Pacific which is willing to militarily take on China, which has taken on China militarily twice in the past. We had a long war in '62, we had a short war, a localized conflict in Nathula in 1967, and of course, who can forget Galwan and other small skirmishes, and essentially, not fought with ammunition and weapons, but with clubs and sticks in the 21st century. But it happened, and so India is the only country that has shown the appetite to take on China militarily. Now, there are 2-3 things. What does this NATO Plus entail, or what does membership of NATO entail? So NATO, essentially, there are a lot of countries that are NATO Plus, including Israel, including other countries. But the problem here is that if India decides to become a member of this, because they are offering it, if India decides to become a member, does India forego its strategic autonomy? This is the biggest concern for an analyst like me. The biggest concern. Does India forego strategic autonomy? Because when you become part of the group, then your interests become subservient to the interests of the group, right? So if any country is a member of the NATO, they will have to follow NATO policies. So if India becomes a member of NATO, or NATO Plus, as they like to say. Now, let me define this further, just to explain it properly through this article. What they are saying is that they want India, because they know that the conflict with China is coming, and in so many other things, not just militarily, but also economically, and they want to corner China, and they feel that India is the best country to do that. So it says, while the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, is a 31-member alliance with 29 European nations and 2 American, which is US and Canada, the NATO Plus, currently NATO Plus 5, is a security arrangement that brings together NATO and 5 aligned nations, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Israel, and South Korea, to boost global defense cooperation. Now, let us understand one thing, ladies and gentlemen. NATO is a military grouping. Quad is not. AUKUS is a military grouping. So, do you want to get into a military grouping? Where does that leave India vis-a-vis its relationship with Russia? Right? If, they are looking at India, the NATO countries and the US are looking at India as far as the military confrontation is concerned, from a narrow prism of a confrontation with China. That is the lens. Because NATO is a military grouping, which is why they're looking at it. NATO specifically is looking at it from the prism or the lens of a defense deal, a defense tie-up with India, in which there are other countries like Australia, like New Zealand, like Israel, like South Korea, etc. And India becomes a NATO +5 or plus now, if India agrees, is going to be a +6. And NATO plus essentially means that we are a group. And so what does it mean if China attacks India? Is it equal to China attacking the United States of America? Because that is what you have for the NATO countries. I'm not sure. I don't know whether...
Okay, so for those of you who don't know exactly what NATO Plus is, NATO Plus is an extension of NATO. It's a way of making NATO more global. I mean, that was kind of the whole idea of actually making this NATO Plus. Now, what he was just referring to right now is Article 5 of NATO, which says an attack on any of the NATO countries is an attack on all of NATO. So if you know if NATO Plus actually abides by Article 5, then please drop it in the comments.
The NATO Plus gets the same facilities as NATO, number one. Number two, I think, and it is my personal opinion, that India should keep away from all these things. There is a very famous saying, beware of Greeks carrying gifts. And this goes to the time of, the Helen of Troy and that battles, where they send this wooden horse. I don't know if you're aware, but if you've read the story, but they send a wooden horse inside, and inside were Greek soldiers, and they entered the city of Troy, and there was a fight, and there was this thing, and Achilles was leading the Greek forces, etc.
So he is talking about Achilles and the Trojan War. This is all Greek mythology, thousands of years ago. But most of you guys should know the story of Helen of Troy, or at least you guys should know the story of the Trojan horse. After all, that is where the name of the Trojan horse virus actually came from. And if you do want to watch a movie about this war starring Brad Pitt, then check out Troy.
Long story, ancient story. But so they have a saying, beware of Greeks carrying gifts, beware of the Americans carrying gifts. Whenever America has wanted to do good to a country, whichever country, and America has done this with the best of intentions at heart. I'm not doubting American intentions. I'm doubting American action. So whenever America has done anything with the best of intentions, it has destroyed that country completely. You shake hands with the Americans, you're dead. I mean, this is my personal belief, and I'm not saying it out of any sense of hatred, because there is none. I am a deep admirer of the United States of America. Its people, its entrepreneurship, its scientific temper, its progress, its defense prowess. I'm a huge fan of most thing Americans. It is just their foreign policy that I don't understand. So America says NATO plus. Where does that leave us with Russia? Because Russia has been a trusted partner. Today, Russia is not able to supply us with the weapons and ammunition simply because Russia is caught in a conflict with Ukraine. But this war will end this year or the next or the year after that. One day this war will end. Then what? Russia is geographically closer to us than the United States of America. The Russians have stood with us through thick and thin.
The fact that the United States even offered India this partnership just goes to show how much America does not understand Indian foreign policy and their history. Like, what is going on in the minds of our lawmakers and our government? What is making them think that India will abandon their friend Russia and go against them? I mean, that makes no sense to me. I feel like I have a better sense of Indian foreign policy than my own government. And I don't even like politics, and I barely understand it, but I do understand one thing. India and Russia are friends. India will never go against Russia. So why can't the United States government understand that?
In 1971 war. And otherwise also, the Russians have always stood with the Indians. And look at where those countries are with whom America stood. America stood with Afghanistan. America stood with Iraq. America stood with Latin America. America stood with Korea, resulting in, two countries, North and South Korea. America stood with so many countries.
I'm surprised he left off Vietnam on the list. The only country I can think of that might be an exception to the rule would be maybe Kuwait.
And those countries are now in a pit of misery because America stood with them. So I like all things American. I can't understand American foreign policy. I can't understand American politics.
Same. I don't understand it either.
So I think India needs to keep away from this. This is what my initial reaction is. Let's see what they offer us, and let's see how best we can take advantage of this.
So I think Indian Defense Minister or External Affairs Minister Dr. Janispur, I think he used the words that NATO Plus is not suitable for India, and I would have to agree with him.
But even if there are advantages, I think India should keep distance from the Americans regarding this. Now, Western intelligence report says that a state-sponsored Chinese hacking group has been spying on a wide range of US critical infrastructure organizations, from telecommunications to transportation hubs, Western intelligence agencies, and Microsoft. They said on Wednesday, the espionage also targeted US island territory of Guam, home to strategically important American military bases. Microsoft said in a report, adding that mitigating this attack could be challenging. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning, his name is actually Mao Ning, could have been Mao Ning, said on Thursday that hacking allegations were a collective disinformation campaign from the Five Eyes countries, a reference to the intelligence sharing group of countries made up of the United States, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and the UK.
So China is hacking and spying on the US. What's new? Just this morning, it was on the news that China has been using Cuba as a listening post to spy on the US.
Okay. So essentially, the Chinese economy has grown on two principles. Number one is contract manufacturing, and number two is intellectual property theft. China has nothing. China has no thinking prowess. China has nothing. China can copy very well, and China can steal very well. Again, not coming from a place of hatred. I've been to China many times. I've observed how the Chinese work. They're masters at copying. They're masters at copying. They're masters at stealing, scientific papers, scientific formulae. That is what the Chinese do best.
So you can find all these stories of Chinese nationals actually coming to the United States to study in some different study abroad programs in colleges and universities. And it turns out that they were actually there to steal some secrets and some technology to send back to the Chinese government.
What I'm trying to say here is that, Chinese spying is not new. China has been spying for decades on the Western countries. It is just that they hide behind democracy in the West. So what they do very effectively is that they also play the victim card very well, the Chinese. So if a Chinese spy is caught in the United States of America, they start playing victim that, oh, I'm Asian and I have Asian features and therefore the police has caught me and, stuff like that. So this is what the Chinese are experts at doing. And they've stolen American technology. America has been very careless with this technology because America has these this ocean of scientific brilliance. It's not a river or a sea, it's an ocean of scientific brilliance. But they're extremely careless with the security, and that is how China has grown.
So yeah, after all, we did just have that Pentagon security breach a couple months ago that sounds like it could have easily have been prevented if certain safeguards had been followed.
So China has been spying. China sent out those weather balloons also, if you remember recently. China keeps on doing that. And the only way to contain it is that you hack the Chinese in response. The Chinese have never gotten a response from the Americans. They have never been at the receiving end. They're only attacking. Nobody has attacked China. When I say attack, I'm saying that cyber infrastructure, their IT infrastructure. They need to come under massive attacks from all directions. That will teach the Chinese a lesson, but that is not happening anytime soon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you see, Imran Khan earlier used to say that I will not talk to the government, meaning the Shehbaz Sharif government. I'm not going to talk to this government. This government is full of thieves and robbers and bandits, and I will not talk to that government. And this government, Shehbaz Sharif's government, with folded hands, had been requesting Imran Khan to talk for the past 1 year. For the past 1 year, they'd been saying, talk to us, let us resolve this issue because it's not doing our country any good, it's not doing Pakistan any good, let's talk. Imran Khan said, no, absolutely not, I will not talk to you. But today, when most of his leadership has quit and Imran Khan finds himself alone, what does Imran Khan do as a response? He creates a small group, a negotiating group, which he says will talk to various people, including the army, including the government. Now, he's created this group. Now, there are two problems with this group. The first problem is that the people of the group are not there. Many of them are in hiding, some of them are in jail. They're not there to do the talking. And number two, the government of Pakistan says that we wanted to talk to you for a year, but you said no. Now, after May 9th, when your people started attacking military installations, we declare you terrorists and we don't talk to terrorists. So Imran Khan's stock has plummeted since the 9th of May.
So that was just after he was arrested, I believe.
And this is something that Imran Khan's followers should not have done. I don't buy this argument that Imran Khan did not know what was going on or the PTI people did not know what was going on. This was not a natural uprising, if I may say that. This was carefully calibrated because they selected strategic targets. A mob doesn't have any brains. A mob will go, it'll burn cars, it'll burn shops, it will burn markets, it'll burn residential apartments, it'll harm random people on the road because then that mob mentality sets in. These guys were not a mob. They knew exactly where they were going. They knew that they had to go to the Corps Commander's house. They went to the Corps Commander's house. They knew they had to go to GHQ Rawalpindi. They went to GHQ Rawalpindi. This mob knew Sargodha Air Base. They knew Quetta Air Base. This mob knew the ISI office in Faisalabad. These were strategic targets,
So my knowledge about this is very limited. I believe Khan was a former prime minister of Pakistan, and then the military went ahead and arrested him. Then all these riots happened, and I think he was released. And why did the government even want to talk to him in the first place? Talk to him about what exactly? I'm not really sure. If someone wants to clarify, I would appreciate it.
All India Radio Pakistan, their building was burnt to cinders. This was not a mob. On 9th of May, I, as an Indian analyst, whatever images I've seen on television, whatever I've read from Pakistani media, I'm not talking about Indian media, from Pakistani media, to a man with half a brain, it's absolutely clear as day that what happened in Pakistan, was not some mob which worked out of, or which reacted out of rage that our leader has been put in prison and put in jail and he's been arrested and we are very upset. No. This entire mob action was very well thought through, and I think I would not be wrong if I said that this was very akin to enemy action. I mean, I tweeted and the Pakistanis were not too happy. They're never too happy with me. But I tweeted that we have had 4 wars, we have fought 4 wars with Pakistan. And I don't think the GHQ was attacked, and I don't think our Corps Commander's residence was invaded. I don't think that had ever happened. Imran Khan did what the Indian army did not. We did not attack homes. Imran Khan attacked homes. And that is why today nobody is willing to talk to Imran Khan. Let's see what happens in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, may the best team win. Today is the IPL final. Today is also the inauguration of the parliament. By the time you see this video, the parliament would have been inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. We wish our countrymen the very best. It's a lovely new beginning, and all the best, and may the best team win today's IPL final. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, please press like, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
So, if you've noticed that my background has changed, that's because my husband decided to change the sheets while I was filming. So that's why that is different. I really enjoyed that video, and again, I think Major Arya is very knowledgeable, and he had a lot of insight to offer all of us. And I really liked what he had to say, especially when he talked about how India should stay far away from the whole NATO Plus membership. I still cannot believe that the United States even offered that to India. All that did was to show how arrogant the U.S. is when it comes to India and India's foreign policy. I mean, what do you guys think? When he was talking about the whole 9 May riots, that completely reminded me of what happened on 6 January with those attacks on the Capitol. Just like the riots in Pakistan, the Capitol attack was not by accident. It was actually orchestrated by many different extremist groups and people. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you do want to watch another video just like this, I have one for you right here. If you do want to help support the channel, I can always use a like, sub, share, comment, thanks, or you can just check out some more videos.